If you do a sit-in restaurant, it's gonna cost more in the Philippines. I'll give you an example. Denny's in California, I'll spend about $13 for myself. That's including coffee and the breakfast. In the Philippines, it costs me $18. The same thing that I order in California, it costs more in the Philippines, okay? Tools, if you're gonna buy tools, it's definitely gonna be more expensive in the Philippines. The quality is not that great. If you get the super cheap ones, they break easily, okay? Because they don't make their own tools. Everything is all supplied or imported, and imported from China and all this junk stuff. All right, kitchen appliances. In California, you could buy a coffee maker for like 12 bucks, 15 bucks. In the Philippines, it's 150 bucks. Okay. Medication. Medication. They don't have Tylenol over there. Tylenol or aspirin. They have something different. They may not work as strong, or they're not as strong as the one you find in California, but the price is going to be the same or a little bit more. Then what is cheap in the Philippines? I'll be straight with you. What's cheap in the Philippines? Labor. If you get a massage, you can get a massage there for $30 for 1 hour. $3 for 1 hour. Here in California, 1 hour, that's going to cost you $80. Bananas, coconuts, mangoes, those are cheap in the Philippines because they make them there. So those are an actual comparison. Now, I know somebody's going to be out there and say, oh, no, I could buy groceries really cheap. They're talking about wet market. Like, you go to this place where it's, for me, I'm very cautious. I can't go to those wet markets. I get scared, man. Either I'm going to get robbed, someone's going to slice me up. Okay? I'm not used to that. But if you go to those wet markets, you're buying meat that you don't know if it's too old or has diseases and stuff, but the price will be low. Ask about the double murder or double dead. I found out about that because I asked, why is the market, the wet market, they sell the pork cheaper than in the regular grocery store? They explained this to me. This is how they explain it. The owner of the pig wakes up in the morning, finds the pig dead. Instead of throwing that pig away, they slice it up and sell it in the wet market. So you have a already dead pig, and they're selling the meat. So you get it really cheap. Now, those same meat are being bought by, they call it calendaria or carinderia. It's one of those corner or just a street vendor, street food, and they sell the food really cheap compared to a sit-in restaurant, compared to McDonald's or Denny's. It's really cheap, but think about what kind of meat you're eating. Okay, you're gonna have a stomachache. I get stomachache when I eat this food. So when they start comparing carinderia food, which is cheaper, or wet market for grocery, come on now. You don't wanna compare those to a regular grocery. If you wanna compare groceries, America grocery, Philippine grocery, store to store, don't even bring up carinderia or wet market, because those are in a different level. You're gonna have to get used to eating those kind of meat or food. Now, if you're living in California for a long time and then you start eating those food, I promise you'll have diarrhea. I go through it. That's why I don't eat those food. Okay, it's gonna offend a lot of people. All the stuff that I'm saying, it's gonna offend a lot of people, but it's the truth, though. So if we're gonna compare lifestyle to lifestyle, we have to go with apples to apples. And that's what I just did. And this is just a brief synopsis. I'm not even touching the whole thing yet. But I hope you guys like my video, and I hope it's informative. And the next video I'm gonna actually make is what's a good place, safe to live in the Philippines, and maybe you can save maybe $500 a month. Instead of living in America, you're gonna live in the Philippines, you're probably gonna save up about $500 a month, no more than 1,000. That I can show you too on the next video. So don't forget to share, like, and make some comments.